playing of the song,
Yeah.
or start recording afterwards.
Right. All right.
All right, how was that?
Yay!
Yeah,
Yay.
very good.
Good.
Very good.
I didn't mention when we were reviewing a little bit, but did some of you make a copy of that first page?
Yes.
Good, because you're doomed if you didn't. I couldn't figure out how to get it. Even recalling the last measure and then trying to flip the page, it wasn't worth the hassle for me, so I just went ahead and made a copy of it myself.
I did it.
Makes it a lot easier for you. Any questions to follow up with that?
What speed did you use?
What speed? Well, I used 8-beat rock, and that comes on at 118. But now, after this class is over, I'm going to go and try Sweet Rhythm, as Doug said, because I didn't try that one. So I'm curious.
I had that one at about at 110 to 115.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody smile because you're forgetting that I really can see your faces. Yeah. You can't be that intense. We're just having fun with music.
Yeah, really.
All right, so we're going to move on now to Mambo Italiano, which is on page 46, if you're in the 74 book. And there's a lot to say about this song. But first, I want to play you through YouTube. I want to play you Frank Sinatra, his version. It is Frank Sinatra's. Dean Martin, I'm sorry. Dean Martin's version. And the first part that they do, we don't have the music to. I don't know where it came from. But then he gets into the mambo. So let's take a listen to this, and then we can talk about how we can make it orchestral, okay?
A boy went back to Napoli because he missed the scenery, the native dances and the charming songs. But wait,
No,
don't
really.
blame it,
Have to do it with
something's wrong. Cause now it's hey
Mambo Italiano, hey mambo, Mambo Italiano, go, go, go. You mixed up a Siciliano, all you Calabrese do the mambo like a crazy with it. Hey mambo, don't wanna tarantella, hey mambo, no more mozzarella, hey mambo, Mambo Italiano, try an enchilada with the
like
fishy bacalao, and then hey
small world.
rumba. I love how you dance the rumba, but take some advice, paisano. Learn how to mambo. If you're gonna be a square, you ain't gonna go nowhere. Hey, mambo, Mambo Italiano. Hey, mambo, Mambo Italiano. Go, go, Joe. Shake it like a Giovanna. Hello, kiss it, did you get happy in the pizza when you Mambo Italiano? You don't have to go to the school just to make it with a beat the bambino. It's like a bean. Kid, you good looking, but you don't know what you're cooking, do you? Hey, mambo, Mambo Italiano. Hey, mambo, Mambo Italiano. Ho, ho, ho. You mixed up a Siciliano. Hello, kiss it, did you get happy in the pizza when you Mambo Italiano?
Is it cut time on this one? Dun, dun, dun.
I'm going to show the difference.
Yeah.
I'm going to teach you a little bit today about cut time, and Brian just asked me if I was a glutton for punishment, because it is a thing to describe.
Show you how you can live like an active six.
Sorry. Computer's frozen.
We're coming back. Here we come. There we are. Okay. So anyway, it's called Alla Breve.
When you're 103. The reason I think I'm the go-to fixer.
My technical support is struggling this morning. It's called Alla Breve, and it's Italian for on the breve, which is short or brief. And in cut time, the time signature would be 2-2, meaning 2 beats to a measure, and the half note gets 1 beat. Now, mathematically, in numbers, what I just said to you, it doesn't matter to me if you can compute that in your brain or not. A lot of people cannot. I don't wrap a whole lot around it myself, but it's twice as fast. So let's say, for instance, your rhythm speed is 70, but you're going to play it in cut time, then you're going to be playing at 140 even though it's set at 70. Does that make sense? So I was trying to think of other songs that we might do in cut time. And it always depends on the style, of course, but Small World, Stars and Stripes, Forever, This Land Is Your Land. There are songs that we would generally play in cut time. So let me just do a little example of that for a minute. Let's say I'm going to do, so here's Small World in regular time. So I'm watching the lights, 2, 3, 4. Now, if I do it in cut time, it's going to sound faster because I'm doubling it. Here it goes. Does that make sense? Let me pause here a minute and see if anybody has any questions so far, or at least one that I may be able to answer. How many people are on?
20.
Okay. Any questions?
Is the whole song in cut time?
Yes. The way I'm going to do it.
Okay.
Now, you can use, of course, style setup and or vintage. The background is going to be very strong. So I tried a Latin category setups, and there were pros and cons to that because Latin sounds are not as strong. So the first thing I had to do was lower the ORC plus on the Latin sounds in order for those sounds, and I wasn't completely satisfied with that. I also tried big band category setups, and the big band, of course, they're strong setups. So I felt like that was better for me, and or style setup and or vintage, which we'll go through a couple of those, and I may be able to put it up on the screen for you to see. So, yes, I'm going to play it in cut time. Now, if you take a look at the music and you look on line 3, you have 8 eighth notes and then 8 more eighth notes. That's typically when people are learning and playing. That's when things tend to fall apart. It looks like, oh, good, I'm going to play all those C's. But first of all, they need to be rhythmic, especially in this song. It's a very rhythmic song. And second of all, it has to be even. So I'm just going to give you food for thought here. Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes when you're playing the same note continuously, 8 notes in a row, we will alter our fingering. Instead of using the same finger, like finger 1 there on the C, we'll alter it. And what the altering of the fingering does is if you learn how to do it, it makes you stay more even with your playing. So I would play 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And take a look at that. Okay, that was 2 measures. Because if you fall apart rhythmically, it's not going to sound right. So you could try either way. You could try just using 1 finger. And basically, if you count to 8, because you have 8 C's and then you have 8 C's. There should be no hesitation, no confusion. It's the same note. You don't have to look at the key. You just keep hitting the same one until you've done 8. and then 8 more. And then what I did on line 4, I'm not sure if you'll like this or not, but I went, let me back up. In the beginning of line 4, instead of playing it all where it's written, I played the first 8, and then I went up an octave. Okay? And then when I finished, or if I didn't go up an octave, if I stayed and did both measures on one C, then I did a gliss up to the high C. So that is also an option that you can add. On line 4, measure, before you go to measure 2, that's where I change my sound, because it's going to repeat the beginning theme of the song. And that is not an easy place for you to change your sound at all, because there's no time. You go from the second half of the last beat up to the first beat. So you have some options to do that. You can choose your sounds and obviously memorize them in a bank if you want. You can, if in the easy instruments, if you have 2 sounds on, you can do the fill there and whip up and take 1 sound off. So that made a change in the sound. You can also memorize and move the presets with your foot switch, which is what I like to do. But if you use your fingers to change sounds, and I'm going to show you that way, the pressure's really on because you are going to miss beats. And if you miss a beat or 2, the best thing to do then is what? Who knows what to do if you miss a beat or 2? You're unmuted.
Keep going.
Started on the next
Just
measure.
just keep going.
Hit the FX.
Yes, hit the effects. If you miss a beat or 2, yes, we want to keep the song going, but there's ways to keep the song going. Hit the FX and look at the lights moving, the tempo light, and when it gets back to beat 1, which is red, then you jump back in.
Mm-hmm.
But if you missed 1 beat and you come in on beat 2 of the next measure, it's very obvious that you're off the beat. If you come in on beat 3 of the next measure, it's not as obvious. If you come in on beat 4, it's very obvious that you're off the beat. And a song like this, because it is so rhythmic, we need to be on the beat. And so maybe in the beginning you're not going to take it in cut time, which I'll show you the difference in just a moment. But we can talk about that too. And you have other options, of course, for some help, as far as we can do a Zoom with you, or if you're willing to come into the store, we can work with you here as well. So there's lots of options for you. And I'm going to mention this. I mentioned this last time. We do a lot of phone work now, as probably some of you know, because we're probably calling you all the time. But we don't get a lot of phone calls. And I think I encouraged you last week to reach out to us and contact us, because, you know, we don't have a lot of people coming in the store at all, and we don't get a lot of phone calls, and it makes for, you know, the hours, it's tough, really tough. So, and doing your nice, kind act of the day, it might be to call one of us and say hello and keep us company a little bit. And we do a lot of Zooms, obviously. We, you know, sometimes we might have 2 product Zooms in a day, and then I might have 2 or 3 private Zooms that I do. So a lot of the time is spent Zooming. Now that's a time, and I want to mention this in case you don't realize it. If you call and we're all engaged in a Zoom, or let's say right now Jason's at a house call and Brian and I are in here, and the phone rings now, we don't answer it because we can't break away from the Zoom. So it'll go to voicemail, and leave a voicemail for us, because when we get finished something, any Zoom that we're doing, we go right away to and check the messages. So if you ever get a time where you call and there's no answer, it's probably because we're in the middle of a Zoom, just so you know that. A little bit of admin stuff here. Okay, so another thing I wanted to talk about is the C minor to the F minor. That's what's going on. And there's not an option in my mind, if you play easy play chords, 1 and 2 finger, there's not an option for how you're going to do this. C minor is C and E flat with your pinky and your 3rd finger. There's no other way to do it. Here it is. Can you see my hand? There it is, C and E flat. And F minor, my 2nd finger is sitting on the F right now, and my thumb's going to go to the A flat. So it's 2 and 1. And because this is the constant of the song, if you look on the first 2 pages, that's all you're going to play. And so it makes sense to me that you got to get that first before you try to put everything together. And the only way to get it is to go back and forth. C minor, F minor, C minor, F minor. And you should do that over and over and over until you do not have to look. Because if you have to look, you're really going to be in a bad way. Obviously, it's a very busy right hand song. It's rhythmic and it's busy with the notes. So the left hand has to be, as I call it, muscle memory and independent. And those 2 chords, they're not chords we use a whole lot. So that's why I'm pointing that out to you, that you want to do that a few times, back and forth, till you can do it. And as you can see, I'm not even anywhere near looking at my left hand. That's what you want to get on that, okay? Any questions so far? You're awfully quiet today.
Kathy's talking, but we can't hear her.
Kathy, you're talking, but we can't hear you.
Show me your E flat.
I'm sorry?
You said that CM is C, E flat. I mean,
Right.
E sharp. What fingers
E
is
flat.
Pinky is C, and number 3 plays the E flat.
Okay.
flat?
Yes. And we don't call it D sharp. And the reason for that is because minor is with flats. So it's C and E flat. And then 2nd finger. Now, what I do is, as you can see with my hand, I slide my hand up a little bit. So I'm a little further back into the black keys. That's just so my thumb can get on the A flat conveniently. It's not uncomfortable for me. So my thumb is on the edge of the black key, but my F number 2 finger, my pointer finger, is pretty far back, just to make it convenient for my hand. And then when I'm finished, I slide right back into place. On the case of, in this song, you're not really going to do too much sliding back into place, because you're going every measure, C minor, F minor, C minor, F minor. So it's important for you to be able to enjoy and focus on the right hand. It's important that you get a handle on that. Now, let's look at the music for a minute, if you will. On line 3, the 2nd measure, measure 2, I don't really do that C minor chord. Instead, I did a smash chord. And like I said, on line 4, measure 1, the you have the option of going 8 VA, which is 1 octave higher. If you look on the second page, page 47, line 3, measure 2, I do a smash chord there. And on line 4, again, you have the option of going 8 VA if you want. Now, on line 4, measure 2, that C7 is pretty important. Don't just play a regular C. Please play a C7 because it's a leading chord there. And then we have an A flat chord on page 48, which is going to be played with your thumb, A flat. And then in the next measure on line 4, it's A flat 7. You can play both of those with your thumb if you want. If you want to keep your hands intact of your position, just put your thumb sideways and play the 2 like that. I don't know if I actually do that or not. I can't tell. If not, you can play your thumb with the A flat and your pointer finger is going to play the G flat. And I think that is it. And then again on page 49, line 3, measure 2 is I did a smash chord. On line 4, you see where the D minor chord is? That would be D as in dog and F. Well, I do that a measure early. I do that D minor chord on the A, the first A in measure 2. And then I wait till it's time to go to the G chord. I didn't like it on the tie, and you really couldn't hear it well because there wasn't enough time for it to go through. So I actually drew an arrow. I don't know if they can see this or not, but I'm going to try. You tell me. Am I getting there?
No. Can you move the book? That's probably easier.
Okay. Oh, you're just so smart, Brian. Okay, so I drew an arrow. Can you see that? And I'm going to play the D minor chord right.
You're whipping him up.
What am I doing?
You're giving him the finger.
No, I'm not. I'm going to do the D minor chord right over the A. Okay? I don't know if you're going to want to repeat the song. It's pretty long, and it gives you 2 endings. You may not be inclined to do that. But it's not hard, but repetitious notes, like if you remember back to Conductor Magic when we were playing music, 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 and it's G, A, G, A, G, A, G. And when the class people first did that, they thought, oh, this is going to be really easy. It's not, because you don't keep it even when you do it that way, and that's why I suggested alternative fingering for the same note, because not only is that a good way of doing it, you don't have to do it that way. You can use the same finger, but if you use the same finger, then you need to, as they would say, drink responsibly. In other words, you got to stay even with it. So moving your fingers, 2 different fingers, makes it a little bit easier to be even on those notes. The obvious rhythm style for this is Mambo. If you're on the easy products, you can go to Latin Pianist. If you go to Latin Pianist, you're going to want to turn up your drums before you start. You can also go to Latin Guitarist as well. Turn up your drums. That's on the easy series. If you have multiple Latin rhythms, as most of the instruments mid-size on up have, then you have your choice. Mambo, to me, is the best choice. You can also use Mariachi, and you can use Merenga. Now, some Latins, like the ballroom Latin, that's a flowing side-to-side rhythm. That's not going to work for this song. And I tried different ones just so that I could encourage you with your ear to say, for this song, this kind of rhythm's not going to work, aside, as I call it, a side-by-side rhythm. You're going to need a more consistent up and down rhythm. So those are the three that I recommend using. And when I did the mambo, it comes on straight time. It comes on at 93. So there we are, or 94, I guess. So that's this speed. And let me just play the beginning a little bit for you. Okay, that's regular time. If I slow it down to, what happened here? Oh. If I slow it down to 70 and I play it twice as fast, it's more fun. That will sound like this. Let's see what my options are for my sounds. Can you hear the difference? Yes? No?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes, I can hear it.
Do
Big
you
difference.
have questions about it? No? Okay.
Joanie,
Yes.
Doug here. When you're doing that cut time, I like that much better. Do you have time for a glissando there at the bottom of page
Not
one?
really.
Okay.
That's kind of why I didn't throw that one in there.
Well, okay. All right. That
But I
sounds
did
good.
change octaves.
I know. I like that
Yes.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just felt like the song was the song and it was more fun in
Sure.
cut time than in common time.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
so, and you're not, it's not that you're playing fast. It doesn't have to be fast. I mean, if you put it down to 60, it'll still be that great background, but you'll be playing at 120. So
Right,
it's not like cut time does not indicate that you have to play fast. It's just double the tempo. So for instance, the tempo here, I'll let you hear it. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. If I double it,
Down just a little bit.
sure.
Peeking like crazy.
If I double it, so the lights are 1, 2, 3, 4, but I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's the cut time.
Joanie,
Yes,
what fingers are you using when you're alternating on line
1 and
3?
2.
Okay, 1 and 2.
thumb and second.
Okay.
Keeps your hand moving too.
It almost looked like you were using your ring and your pinky the way it was up there in the air, and I thought, my God, I'll never do
No,
that.
my hand, because I'm doing the same note, my hand does
Sure.
tend to go up higher than it normally would.
Yeah.
So I can get the flexibility of,
Sure.
keeping them as eighth notes, but
Sure.
I used 1 and 2. But, and that is what I have found over the many years is, that's a very good exercise if you have arthritis in your first joint of your second finger, which I do have a little bit, because that makes these 2 fingers really move.
Yeah.
So it's good for your health as well.
And when you say smash chord, you're talking about a no chord, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And I do this smash,
Right.
black and white. Brian always does the 3 key.
That's what I do.
I don't want to have to move my hand to be that precise. So I just slam down black and white keys, and it works for me. So whichever way works for you is fine.
Right. Okay.
Joanie?
Yes.
Joanie?
Yes,
I don't know if you can hear me.
I can.
Okay, great. On the 4th line, after you did the smash chord, on the second measure, you came in with the C minor again, didn't you?
Yeah, yes. I'm glad you brought that up.
Sure of that. Thank you.
Yes, that was a good catch. Very good. Thank you, Linda. Yeah, on this line 4, measure 2, I come back in with the C minor, because remember, I'm on a smash chord for 2 measures. So
Right.
yes, I did play the C minor and then go up to the top of the page for the F minor. Good ears, Linda, good ears. So I'm gonna play, I don't know if we can move over or not, but I want to just give you a little bit of flavor on the easies. I prefer, is anybody plugged in?
Those are not plugged in.
Nobody?
I thought you said you were going to reference the easy one.
Oh, okay, I guess I
I
am.
didn't plug in anything.
I don't have anything. We have 5,000 wires and nothing's hooked up right now.
The easy 4 might be plugged in.
Hang on 1 second.
I didn't think you were going to use those. Actually, it's not. Never mind.
No. Okay. If you haven't been here, it looks like a war zone. I'm just going to warn you with wires. It's a nightmare to me, but it works, so it's keeping us going anyway. All right, so, but of the 2, the pianist and the guitarist on Latin, on the easy instruments, I much preferred myself personally, the pianist over the guitarist. In both cases, I had to speed them up. So just be aware of that when you try to go play it. I'm going to go now to the mariachi rhythm style so you can hear that. It's mariachi paso doble. And it's going to come on at, this is going to be regular time, not cut time, okay? Because I'm listening to what I need here. So you can hear that beat is a little bit different. I would not play that in cut time. I'd play that in regular, or what we call common time, regular time. And then the other one that we were going to try out was Merenga, which I think is on a different page. Let me find it. I can't find it. they hid it from me on a different button. I was having trouble finding it. So that is this style. Okay, questions, comments? I'm going to go back one more time and play it all the way through on Mambo because that's what the rhythm is for this. So I want you to hear the whole thing on that. But so what I was thinking about, I was trying to picture being a hobbyist. And just for the sake of argument, if you find that on the second page, for instance, line 1, measure 2, on a high C, if you find that your pinky isn't on the high C, you got to ask yourself what you're doing, because you need all your fingers below it. So it's important, try it out one time and figure out which fingers I'm going to use, because I've seen not so much with most of you guys, but beginners especially, like they'll put their thumb anywhere, you know, and every note they're going to play is below their thumb and they don't have any fingers left. So just be aware of that. And I think the hurdle, it's not really a hurdle, but a little bit of a, you might want to do it once or twice, is on the third page, lines 3 and 4. Because the notes are moving, especially on line 4. Now the notes are right in a row, so you shouldn't have difficulty. But I'm just saying, give it a little TLC, the attention, okay? So any questions or comments before I go one more round here?
Joanie?
Yes.
This is Doug. On that third page, third line, A flat, are you using your first and second fingers on the C?
Yes.
Are you, okay, so you switch from first and second on the A flat, on that C note, and then go to, do you go up an octave and put your pinky on the C?
I did go up an octave.
Okay, up an octave, pinky on this, that makes sense. Okay, all right.
Pinky on the C, yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
But, yeah, I guess I did. I use my thumb and second finger. I don't need to use 2 different fingers. I can be very even with one, obviously, because of my experience. I can keep it even. I just brought that up as a suggestion to help you as a hobbyist, that you might find it easier to be even if you're using the 2 fingers.
Gotcha. Okay.
Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, but you have to see what works really best for you.
Thanks.
Any other comments or questions? How many are on?
19, including you.
Okay. Okay, so this is going to be, where am I? This is going to be the Mambo, and we're going to take it all the way through. start that again.
I can't hear you.
I said, let's start that again because I forgot to change my speed. There we go. Okay. So on and off things a pain in the And of course, the introduction chord is a C minor, just to mention that. And I just felt like that was fun. It's a fun song to play. So I chose Mambo personally. That's the one I like the best, and I chose to do it in cut time. But, you know, have fun with it, however you want to do it. It's a cool song. Questions, comments?
Did you use intro 1 and ending 1?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Okay, today at 1 o'clock, there's an A series Zoom. I'm not sure who's doing that, but
Fantastic.
oh, Joe Fontesha's doing it. And that includes the Liberty, Sterling, Patriot, those instruments. So if you're interested in learning a little bit about your dashboard, that would be a great thing to hop on to. If I were in that circumstance and had any of those instruments, I would definitely be on it because it can only be helpful. Not so much EX instruments, but the A and the LE is the Liberty. So, and I think they may be using, oh no,
Probably going to use a Sterling.
we might be using a Sterling, yeah. So I would hop on that at 1 o'clock, if you will. And then, of course, Wednesday and Thursday is the variety class. They're both the same. However, the one I watch a little bit, or a lot of it, I watch all of one and some of the other. And what I have noticed is the 2 days in a row, whoever's doing the teaching, they don't always say exactly the same thing. And a good example was Jason this previous week. He brought up some things on the second day that he hadn't brought up the first day. So if you're bored and you want to catch both of them, even though it's the same, you might pick up different tips each day. I try to have my ear on one. I'm really attentive at one class, and then I try to have my ear on the computer on the other class just to see if there's any variance of what's being said and offered as far as suggestions go. And then, of course, Friday is the Zoom concert,
Sean Malone.
and that will be with Sean Maloney. And even though, like my class, the link, you see, he writes 11 o'clock, and then in parentheses, he writes AZ, please ignore it and tell your friends. It's 11 o'clock Eastern time. And the variety classes and the concerts are always at 2 o'clock Eastern time. So no matter what your link says, don't pay attention to it. Okay, anything else?
No.
All right, I want to thank you very much for being with me, and I would encourage you to reach out to us for help, because that's what we're here for. And we're obviously, I started this morning calling the people who attended the birthday concert. We are doing a really hard call for all the attendees, and we'll be asking you if you enjoyed it and what you liked the best. And the other question I'm asking is, can you get us referrals? We're on a major crusade. The only way we can keep the music club going is to have new people. And at this point in time, the best resource we have for that is you. So if you can give us a referral, that's what, and if you say, well, you'll think about it, I promise you I'm going to call you back and see if you thought about it, because that's what we really, really need the most right now. And we need to hear from you with a smile and a chat. So feel free, please stay well, wash your hands, be healthy. And if you have any questions at all, reach out to us at the store. We'd be delighted to help you. Have a wonderful day, and thanks for joining me.
Thanks, Joanie. Thanks, Brian.
You're welcome.